What are we doing here in Costa Rica?
I am losing it in the tow-in department, right? A bit, and I need to get some professional instruction on the proper way of towing in and just all the stuff that goes along with towing in. So I came out here hoping that you can keep me going for another 5 years.
We're going to give it our best shot. I don't think it's going to be any trouble getting you into some real nice waves.
I hear the waves are the best here for if you're going to learn. I've been looking for that perfect wave to do it, and according to the people I've talked to, this is the place. It came right from Sean Murray's mouth.
So I am here with the legendary Mike Murphy. If you're into foil surfing, if you're into the air chair, if you're into water skiing, if you're a water sports enthusiast, a power sports enthusiast, you probably heard of Mike at some point. A lot of people give him credit for inventing the hydrofoil. The hydrofoil has a much deeper history going back to people like Alexander Graham Bell. But Mike was one of the pioneers who was able to see through all the noise, had a relentless heart for experimentation and learning what could be done with this type of technology. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's.
Don't want to put any words in your mouth. But what's your involvement with the foil industry today?
My involvement today is I ride, do a lot of riding, trying to. I enjoy it. I've been addicted to foils for 60 years, and I travel around and I ride hydrofoils. I ride 90% of what I ride is a stand-up surf foil. 10% is a sit-down foil. I would like to ride the sit-down foil more, but this part loves sit-down foiling. This part doesn't like it.
Right.
You know, I'm 75 going on 90, my body.
Right.
And I just enjoy the sport. As my riding ability on slalom skiing, barefoot skiing, and this kind of stuff goes down because of my age, my reaction time, my strength, my balance, everything that goes along with that, I really have not really decreased at all on stand-up wake surf foiling. And I think the reason for that is, even though I am losing balance in reaction time, is like I ride an Armstrong foil, and it seems like they always have a better foil, a better foil, a better foil. So as my riding abilities go down, the equipment adjusts it back up where I stay the same.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for making those foils.
So what's your current setup then? What's your go-to board?
I like a WKT board. I like a 72 mast. I like a 60 fuse, a 880 foil, and a 205 surf for the stabilizer.
Yeah, so you're riding the HA.
Yeah, so that's my go-to behind a boat because nothing changes. The speed, you got a perfect pass hold, you got the speed, you can put your ballast in it. The wake's coming from the same direction all the time. It's not like surfing. So the reason I came out here, the backcountry foiling, is so you guys can teach me more about tow-in surfing.
Yeah.
I did do it back in the days, way back 40 years ago on a sit-down.
Right, and if I heard this right, which I have to double check because it sounds so insane, you were tow-in surfing on your, is it your air chair?
It was an air chair at the time.
It was
yeah.
an air chair
yeah.
at the time. You riding waves in an air chair. Can you just set that up for me a little more? Like where were you, who were you with, and how did that go down?
So I'm in Hawaii, and we went to Jaws. And I'm watching these guys tow in, and to me, watching them fly that hydrofoil is, oh my God, this isn't, you know, having a flashback from the 60s. Are these guys really doing this, you know? And they were doing it. And I hung out for a whole day. The next day they said, Murphy, you want to give it a go? And I said, yeah. I said, you surf much? I go, no. And they said, okay, what size are your feet? And I said, what does that have to do with it? And he said, well, we've got to get you some boots. And at the time they were using K2 clickers, a Rush Randall board, and one of my foils. I said, I got my sit down. And they kind of looked at me and shook their head and said, you can't ride a sit down. I said, I can ride a sit down good. I've been doing it for years. And they said, well, in a way we had to adjust all these foils and all this to make them work right. And I'm going, no, man, I can do it. But when I first toe in, I just go bam, 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 just jumping, piercing the surface, jumping. But that was a trick I used to do, called a kangaroo. So I just went with it and did it. And I got into these people, they were going berserk, saying, oh my God, I can't believe you were able to do that. And I said, well, it's not being able to do it, it's be able not to fall, because I wasn't doing it. It was doing it.
When you started going down this rabbit hole of foiling 60 years ago, did you like being that weird guy who was always doing his own thing, or could you have ever imagined that we'd be sitting here now, tow foiling Costa Rica,
You know,
and the sport just exploding?
I can't. What I say is got the patents 30 years too early, right?
Timing is important.
So the timing wasn't there, and people say, "You, Mike Murphy, you're the guy that invented that thing." No, I'm not really the inventor. I'm the godfather. You know, man, you must be rich. Everybody thinks I'm rich, right? And this might be arrogant or cocky. I mean, thinking if it wasn't for me, this wouldn't be happening. But then I have to knock myself in the head and say, well, if it wasn't for Alexander Graham Bell, I wouldn't be doing this, you know. And if it wasn't for Mike Murphy, Laird wouldn't have figured out you could surf it. So it's not just me, it's the other pioneers, you know.
Yeah, it was a
community effort.
It was a community collaboration over 60 or 70 years, really, or even beyond that, really.
Even turn of the century.
Yeah.
It's just it had its moments where it was dying. You know, it was dying. To sit down went to a dying thing, and then learn how to do it. And then it went up for a couple years, but still, again, it was 40 huge waves of people thinking, "There's no way in the world I'm ever going to do that." But now it's, God. Everybody's wanting to do it. They're learning on small waves. It's safe. You're going slow. The foils aren't sharp. I was young. A water ski. There's a guy named Chuck Stearns. You know, to be able to ski like him would have been phenomenal. And then I had my heroes. Lair Hamilton. When the whole foil thing started, he was a hero to me before he was even riding a foil. You know. But I have to say my biggest inspiration or the biggest goal I have to achieve is when your mom can ride a hydrofoil at 89 years old for 3 hours and 17 minutes to Catalina Island and back. That's inspiring. Absolutely. It gives me a goal to set.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it.
Cool. That's pretty hard. The bar has been set pretty high, but that's pretty cool. Big thank you, Mike Murphy, for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Mike, in my lifetime, has been a legend and a myth, and I finally get a chance to meet him and actually get to go tow foil with him here in Costa Rica, so that's a bucket list moment for me. I want to say thank you, Mike, for coming.
Thank you.
And looking forward to doing some riding with you.
Tomorrow we're going to be out in the morning, crack of dawn.
100%.